Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gaybros, Jose.
where are we today?
I'm in San Francisco.
And I'm in Chicago.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's funny
Not
because
at the
it
dive
has
bar.
not
Neither
a
one.
diver. No, no. I mean, I wish that I had enough space at my own place that I could turn a bedroom or, a space into a dive bar. Like just turn
That's the
it
dream, man.
completely. Yeah. Having like wood all around, and then the only purpose of it is just having you over.
That would be amazing. We could
Yeah.
call it puzzles.
Why puzzles?
That's the puzzle.
That's so stupid. I like that they actually do that joke like several times, and I cannot believe that we're quoting How I Met Your Mother.
I'm unemployed. I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother like nonstop, so I might quote it several more times on this recording.
That's completely fair. We're almost done rewatching it. It has taken like 3 years for rewatch the whole thing.
It's fine. It's adequate.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like the best sitcom of all times, but I don't think that there is any really transcendental sitcom before, besides Happy Endings.
But I feel like it's the style of Scrubs that got so annoying, but they elevated it enough that, yeah, 9 seasons is fine. The running jokes are quality, and sometimes I laugh and sometimes I roll my eyes, and that's all I need in a sitcom.
No, that's fair. But talking about all you need in a sitcom and talking about all you need in a horror zombie movie, what did we watch this time?
This was my pick, and for, I would say, 3 or 4 years, I claimed this film to be my favorite film of all time in my early 20s. We watched the Danny Boyle zombie film 28 Days Later.
Sorry, I'm like right now raising my hand. I wanted to just interrupt you, But thank you. Was this before or after Magnolia was your favorite film?
It was about the same time. So like during, I'm not going to remember the specific years, but it rotated between 25th Hour. Shit, what is that Spike Lee joint that Edward Norton was in? The 25th
Hour?
No, anyway, it went between Magnolia, 28 Days Later, and whatever the Spike Lee joint is, starring Barry Pepper, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Edward Norton.
Well, maybe I never watched it. Maybe we should watch that one.
We should. It used to be my favorite film, just like 28 Days Later.
Exactly. And we should rewatch Magnolia too. Treat us like do like a reality check. Yeah. So why did you
The
pick
25th Hour is the Spike Lee movie.
Yeah. What did you pick 28 days later?
To be honest, I don't remember. I think we had been doing some double headers and we kind of decided we wanted something lighter. And so I was like, I love 25th Hour and Sunshine. And there's a lot of Danny Boyle films I like that I like to make you watch.
Yeah, I still haven't forgiven you for Sunshine, but sure. So as this was your pick, I guess that I had to summarize it. And the story opens. I would say that I found, like when I watched it the first time, I found refreshing that is like, this is not left to interpretation about like why there is a zombie outbreak, and they don't call it zombies, they call it infected. But it opens with a group of ecology radicals, like terrorists, eco-terrorists, like trying to free some monkeys in a lab. That they're clearly very excited, and then like the most stereotypical scientist with a row comes in and says, "No, you shouldn't do that. They're infected." But they still open one of the cages, and someone gets beating their face off, and they just come back as rage zombies. And then it just jumps. Did I lie? Did I make something up?
No. I feel like you need to call out though. The eco-terrorists say infected with what?
Yeah.
And the scientist says rage.
Yeah, with rage. Yeah, it's like I love that. It's basically like if you look at the the periodic table, is that there is like an element that is rage, RA. That's exactly what they infected it with, pure rage. So The movie then jumps to a hospital where we see, sorry, that I always forget his name, Cillian Murphy. We see Cillian Murphy like waking up out of a coma. Like we assume there is a coma. It's like clearly that he was unconscious, and the door was locked, and he actually finds like the keys like under the door. As the audience, we already know what is happening. That there was like a zombie outbreak, and they just lock everyone with like, good luck. Hope that you come back to life in the next 10 days before you die. Funny enough, is like all the systems were probably still operating, all of the monitors and everything, no?
There was still electricity, but you could believe that if there was a mass event like that, electricity would still be running at least 4 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, and then we see him like just roaming around London, where everything is completely empty. Is that we see like 10 minutes of that. Basically, it's like they basically invested a lot of money for just shooting those scenes, and they wanted to make the most out of it. So he walks in front of the Buckingham Palace. There is no one, like very iconic places, and there is not a single soul until he goes to Piccadilly Circus. That is funny seeing it, like back in the this is 2002, like 20 years ago, and how analogic it was compared to now. That is more like LED screens everywhere, and he actually sees like a lot of information there that it says that, hey, these people have disappeared, blah blah blah, and he finds some newspapers like completing the picture. Some minutes later, he finds a couple of survivors that saved him in the last second from being eaten by a couple of infected that they are running. They're not zombies, they're infected, so they run. And he gets saved. Unnecessarily, they explode against the station for the sake of it. This feel is like, dude, there are like 2 of them. He's like, I'm pretty sure that you can kill them or run away. Is like just making that explosion probably would trigger like more of them, like just coming by. But in any case, they take them to a safe spot underground. They say that is like, we should always be in pairs. You should never be by yourself. And if you get infected, I will kill you. So the next thing that they do as responsible survivors is going to the main character's parents' house, Cillian Murphy's parents' house, where they actually see that they actually died, but they died, they didn't got turned or anything. I don't remember if they committed suicide. They left a note to him just in case he comes back, and then one of the other 2 survivors gets beaten by a zombie. They kill them, and then Cillian Murphy and Naomie Harris, I think that is the name of that actress, they just keep roaming around the city. They meet up with Brendan Gleeson and her daughter in their apartment. And sorry that I'm doing like a lot of undone, but it's basically a road trip of different scenes. That is now they're partnering with these 2. They're getting a recording on the radio about like, come here, we're the survivors, we have an army, and we're going to rebuild everything. They get there and they find Doctor Who. What is the name of this actor? Like the one that Christopher Eccleston. That he was also in The Leftovers.
Ah, okay.
The one with the very British ears. But at that point, Brendan Gleeson already has a very dramatic drop of blood that goes into his eye, and then he turns immediately, so he needs to be killed, needs to be put down. And then on that act is like basically all of the military that they're with Christopher Eccleston, they are basically insane. They try to kill Cillian Murphy, and they try to rape Naomie Harris and the daughter of Brendan Gleeson. So Cillian Murphy goes into Rambo mode, basically get them all killed, saves the 2 women, but he gets shot, but he still survives because he's the main character. So the end.
The end.
Yep. And if there was any kind of character development, maybe Naomie Harris like goes from I will leave you behind if you are slowing me down, to we need to save Cillian Murphy, he just got shot, and that's it. I don't know if there are more character depth beyond that.
No, I mean the point of this film was definitely not character development, and they didn't put any in. which is fine. Like, I don't need a ton of character development in a thriller. Would you call this a thriller or horror?
I would say horror, but it's not that horror either. I think that it was more scary like the first time that I watched it. But this is what we were saying the other day. Like, yeah, I think that I went to the cinema to watch this one. But I think that what we were saying, that our sensibility probably has changed like quite a bit, and horror has become more, I don't know, it's saying nuance is the best word, because we still have like scary jumps and everything, but there is not this, oh my god, there's going to be like a zombie coming. Now, the way that they use zombies here is pretty weird. It's not really for horror, it's for just desolation. As a risk on this desolation.
Yeah, I don't. Well, let me say, first off, this film is grainy as fuck. Like, it felt less. The visuals had less quality than like something filmed in 1995, and I don't understand why. Unless Danny Boyle really wanted to film digitally, and this is just at that time where it was like almost a viable option. And he does have an eye for like setting up the world and kind of the anxiety of being isolated in a city. I did like kind of the first 10 minutes, but then after that, I felt kind of like your description, and it was just like, and I don't care.
Yeah, it's more like,
and the final third, you have to admit that the final third of Sunshine is better than this.
The final third, I was like, dude, why has he turned into this kind of ultimate, not really killing machine, but chaos machine, I assume? I don't know how to call it. But how I left when the movie was over is that, what was the point of this? This as a zombie movie is not that good, and it's like as a thriller, I don't get anything. I don't know if there should be like something deeper into it, but I don't get anything.
Yeah, I wish I could say otherwise, but like in 2000, I must have seen this in 2002, because I know I bought this before I moved to Russia in 2003. It felt like such a fun ride. Well, I was 18 at the time. Regardless, it's not a fun ride in 2023, and it bums me out, because I really did call this my favorite film, and there's nothing redeeming about this. Nothing.
The funny thing is, yesterday I was having a bad day. You know, there are like some days that is that you don't, everything feels like it's against you, and you feel it's like, dude, I don't want to do anything, but I had to watch the movie. And it is, most of the time when we watch like any of these movies, I always feel like, you know, at least it was entertaining. I'm looking forward to the conversation. I finished watching the movie, and usually I don't text you about like how I feel, and I started like just like texting you about like, this is how I feel about this movie, because I felt upset. You can ask my boyfriend, but it's like, I felt upset. I felt like he made me watch this. It felt like I just worked for 2 additional hours. It didn't feel like enjoyable. And the thing is, like, there's nothing like inherently wrong with it, but it's not enjoyable. It's
not enjoyable. And honestly, I felt bored. I was like, okay, like, let's get to the end already. We get it. I'm super bummed, and I'm sorry I made you watch the shitty movie on your shitty day.
You choose the movie. You didn't choose the day that I was going to be watching. I could have watched it earlier, you know, but it's like yesterday was like, oh, we have to watch the movie. So yeah. And we started watching it too late, so we ended too late, and then at the end it was like, I cannot watch anything else after this, so I have to go to bed with this taste in my mouth.
So this film is not available to stream anywhere, and I'm embarrassed about how much I know about this film, but there were multiple endings. So I'm curious which ending you saw, because there was an American one and there's a British one. I think they made, for the American release, Cillian Murphy survive, but in the British one he died, and it's just Naomie Harris and the daughter at the end. So I think in the one you were able to find, he is alive, right? And they do the
he's alive. Yeah, that's the reason what I was saying. It's like he gets shot, but he still survives. That is like, can at least like sacrifice himself. It doesn't make too much sense that he survives. None of them are a nurse. It's like, how did they actually like do that? But not even a spoiler alert, because if this is not clear, it's like, I don't think that anyone should be watching this movie in 2023. And
honestly, I don't like spoilers. This movie deserves to be spoiled.
I'm trying to think because when I watched it, I knew. No, the version that I watched back in Spain when I watched it originally, it was the same ending that I was this time. He survived. Because I remember like those flashes when he sees like the hell, and then it's like, oh no, they're writing hello.
So we haven't mentioned this so far in this recording, but Alex Garland wrote this script, and we know that Alex Garland went on to direct many mediocre films.
Many mediocre sci-fi films that somehow people appreciate it. Yeah, as a writer, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. It's like I think that he has decent ideas, but this is not a decent idea. This is monkeys infected with rage.
Yeah, no, it felt so gross. Oh, that scene, I was actually embarrassed, and I was like, well, that one line didn't age well, but let's see how the rest of it...
Let's pretend that it didn't happen. There may be redeeming qualities here.
The rest did not age well either. Yeah, this was not a good movie.
No, it certainly was not. Should we get over the question? Because I got the feeling that we're going to keep
There's
just
nothing
beating
else
down
to
the
say.
horses. Yeah.
Let's go over the question.
Would you watch it again?
Honestly, I think this was the final time. I don't... It's not that I would be like, no, I'm not watching this. I don't think I'm ever going to seek this out again unless in 10 years I forget how disappointing this experience was, which could happen. But no, I would not watch it again.
But this is one of the reasons why we are recording this podcast. So it's like if
So
at
we
some
don't
point, if you're tempted to actually say that, it's like, should I watch this again? Is that you can go to Spotify and just check that. It's like, what did we think about it? Oh, it's a piece of shit. I shouldn't be watching it. Yeah, I don't think that I'll be watching this again. How many times did you watch it before this one?
I would say easily 15 times.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, probably this was the third time. I remember like watching it a couple of times. I was like watching it on the cinema and then like watching it once again. I said like, it's good, but it's not as good. So I remember I'm feeling pissed about like these are not zombies. If they run, this is an insult to George Romero.
Well, in fairness to Danny Boyle, he was like these are not zombies. I don't call them zombies. This is not a zombie film. Okay, but zombies is the closest word that we can use to describe them.
Yeah, it's not a zombie movie, but it plays as a zombie movie, but worse.
Yes.
So, yeah. There is actually a Train to Busan. Did you watch it? A zombie Korean movie?
Yes, I did watch it. You asked me to watch it years ago, and I did.
Oh, wow. That one I think that they ran to, if I recall correctly.
So it's not a zombie movie.
But it's good, actually, you know.
Oh,
so
no,
it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement. It's more like in this, how many scenes do you have with zombies? Like, in all of them, at the end of the scene, it's like, and now the zombie. You almost feel like, and now the zombie. It feels almost like, hey, you're using the same manual. Is that you created like the formula the first time and you feel like it's good, like when he goes to the charts, and then you feel it, it's like, oh, and then the zombies came out. So it's like, I had to do that about like presenting the solution and then the zombies. For making it worse.
It was very formulaic. I completely agree.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't need to watch it again, ever. Would you recommend it?
No, not anymore. Although I did for years as my favorite film.
Well, thankfully Magnolia was released what year? Oh, like Magnolia was before 99. So basically you're saying that 20 days later dethroned Magnolia.
I don't think I saw Magnolia until like I was years after this. So yes, Magnolia may have dethroned 25th Hour. Or no, sorry,
28 hours.
That was the Spike Lee joint.
Yeah. Okay. Would you remember 28 days later?
I remember everything about there were no surprises, nothing. I was like expecting a scene. Wow, I forgot that. That was cool. Nope.
Just quick thing. as I said, is that I broke usually my board of silence, that I try not to say anything about the movie. And when you tell me something, I always like joke about like, let's not say too much. Do you think that I could have influence like with my comments, negative comments yesterday about like time just put 20 days later in its place? Your opinion on the movie?
I don't think so, because even if I felt like this was a guilty pleasure, I would proudly call it a guilty pleasure and be like, yeah, this didn't age well, but I fucking love it. I did not love it. It's just not a good movie. So
okay. That's fair. I remember like some of the stuff. I remember the ending. I remember like a couple of the scenes. Now, as I usually say, is that this is a cautionary tale. Is that my brain is going to protect me from watching it again. He already knows by fire. 28 days later, immediately correlation. Is there anything artistic about it?
I mean, yeah, there is some style. There are some pretty good performances. I mean, nothing that stands out. So I guess no. I don't.
So no.
It's not horribly bad. I don't know. I don't know how to answer this. I'm just gonna say no, because there's nothing like yes, that's artistic.
So one thing that I was telling you yesterday that it pissed me off a lot, and I think that I was still watching the movie when I told you, is that every 3 seconds there is a Dutch angle, like an oblique. And I'm not exaggerating. I got to a point about like just counting the time and say that he cannot get like a straight angle. It's like someone told him that is like, hey, what you need for just building tension and just getting everyone on their seat is a Dutch angle. And he went all in, so I couldn't take him seriously. Like the way that he constructed like the emptiness of London is like, sure, yeah, it's fine. But also at the same time, it's not coherent with like, hey, you have like a 12 million city. Sorry, it's not a 12 million people city. So nothing really felt congruent to me. Everything felt like a bit of a, you really want me to use suspension of disbelief, and I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, it felt stylistically the things you're describing very close to Run Lola Run, when that was innovative and interesting, and Danny Boyle like jumped on this train like 8 years late.
Yeah, like 4 years later, it felt like, hey, I can do video clips.
Yeah, yes, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, and it's like, this is not a video clip. So Run Lola Run like worked because it's that you have the music going along, and he knew that it's like, I'm trying to do a video clip. I'm not trying to do like anything too deep. So sit down and just enjoy this ride. Is that this felt, you have some visual style, that a visual flair that you want to be like a video clip, but you cannot make it work. I'm not opposed to that kind of heavy aesthetic, but it's like, just make it work. Not like this.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, and actually Danny Boyle is like, he made it work with Trainspotting. And
I would argue later he did make that style work with 127 hours. At least that's how I remember it. Who knows?
Yeah.
We were to go
and
back
Slumdog Millionaire. And it's like Millionaire. You may not like it. It's not a great movie, but it's Slumdog Millionaire. It has like a rhythm that is like, okay, I see what you're going for. Is that this doesn't have a rhythm, but it has like some of the elements. So I felt confused about it. Now, is it a timeless piece?
No. And the only evidence I can provide against that is that it aged like shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, hey, this is the 90s in 2002.
Yep.
just saying, and it felt like, hey, this is probably one of the most timely movies. Albeit it could have been like recorded at any other time, like a story about infected could have happened any other time. There is something that it gets like super, this is from a different time. How it was done, the aesthetics, the story, everything feels like you are not the Lost Boys, but you are not that different.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
Yeah. Could you turn this into a TV show?
Who's writing it? Is it Alex Garland?
It's Alex Garland. Did you
Absolutely
watch Debs?
Not.
Did you watch Debs? Debs.
No.
Okay, the TV show that Alex Garland wrote. Don't watch it. But yeah, I wouldn't turn this into a TV show. It's no. The 2 hours, no, it's more than enough. Could this have been a short?
Yes.
Okay, definitely yes. Even if they don't, that's the funny thing is I had a feeling that they could have kept like most of the scenes, reducing the length, and this could have been below 1 hour.
Oh, 100%. I'm thinking like a tight 25 minutes. They keep the big important scenes, and we would get the same impact.
Oh yeah. If you remove the scenes, definitely 25 minutes. You know, it's like I'm just saying that it's like you could keep most of the like stages of the movie.
Yeah.
And it would be a short, less than 1 hour. You know, remove like all of the fat that you have here. Do you think that this movie could have been better?
Yep. There's a lot that could have been better.
Yeah, definitely try to make us attached to the characters. I didn't care about any of them. Is they not even going with Cillian Murphy to see his parents' house and just seeing like the notes? It didn't make me care about him.
Yeah, no, I was surprised how I didn't care about any of them. I remember even Naomie Harris being like I could empathize with her. I cared about her a little bit. Not this time. Nope.
No, it's just sad. And not in the right way. Super scored.
Yeah.
Okay. This was your pick, so I had to score it first. Honestly, at the beginning, I was more like leaning towards a okay score, but thinking about how I felt, thinking about like how much I love cinema, how much I love horror cinema and sci-fi, and how it turned my day from this is a silly day into what the fuck, this just felt like a job. I think that I'm going to be like giving it a 2.
What? A 2?
I think
that's exaggerated.
I'm exaggerated, but I'm telling you, it's more about like the circumstances of I was not having a good day, and Danny Boyle had all of the cards on his hand for just like turning it around, and it felt miserably. If I were more objective, probably would give it a 4, you know. But it's not a good movie. It's definitely not a good movie. It's boring as hell.
Yeah, I don't know how to score this. I'm going to go with a 4. You know that I feel 5 is perfectly mediocre, but this was perfectly mediocre, but also boring. So 4, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think that I was telling you before the podcast, we were talking about Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I was saying that the more that I consume from him, the less I like Phantom of the Opera. That I tend to like, and it's like I think that the same thing happens with Danny Boyle. Is that the more that I was like his movies, the less I like the ones that I think that they're good. And I haven't watched them. It's like now I'm afraid. I don't want to watch Transporting. Now I'm afraid of truly rewatching. Yeah, is that
we went through his IMDb page and we were like, which of these would we happily rewatch? And it wasn't many.
Nope. I mean, I would rewatch Slumdog Millionaire. I know that it's super heavy-handed. I know that it's the kind of movie that Hollywood is going to like. But it was enjoyable. Is that the rhythm was good. It was like the same type of rhythm from Transporting. And Transporting, I watched that movie a lot of times while I was in college. And now I don't want to watch it again. I don't.
I honestly, I'm not going to pick this movie because this 28 days later, I was like, no more Danny Boyle. I would like to hear your opinion of Millions. Unless that one's bad too. No, let's just not revisit Danny Boyle for a while.
No, I don't. No, let's just give it a quarantine. Like, you know, time off. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not like the Kubrick thing that is like, hey, we watched 2001. We need to watch more Kubrick. It's like, no, we watched Danny Boyle. It's enough. One is enough. Thank you, boy. Thank you, Danny. Just don't call us. We will call you. Okay, as this was your pick, I had to pick Nest, and maybe I would regret this, but since I watched this movie, I've always been like, God, this movie was good. It could have been amazing, but I feel like it's really good. That movie is Aitonia, and every single time that I mentioned this to you, you didn't feel like it's about it.
It was fine. As I recall, and it's been years, it was a fine movie with nothing exceptional.
No, I mean, I'm curious to talk more about it. I don't want to give away why I think that it could have been exceptional. But yeah.
All right.
Come on. Anything else to say about 20 Days Later or Danny Boyle?
Just wash your hands and don't watch this movie.
Okay, bye.